familiar with.
One second.
And it's always interesting when you want to introduce someone, right? And when I meet someone for the first time or someone is introducing me to someone, um, I don't often see them pick out a resume, a long resume, and start reading from it, whatever, they usually tell me about the person. So that's what I want to do with Dr. Carine. I want to tell you about Dr. Carine, because this is someone that I know personally. She came into my life during one of my darkest times. Um, and many of you have heard the story, so I'm not even going to go into it, but she pretty much saved my life. And that was almost 8 years ago. And I will forever, ever be grateful to her. She started me on a path to health that, thank God, I'm still on that journey. I'm 100% vegan, trying hard to be just mostly raw, to maintain that. But because of her and what she did for me and what she introduced me to, I can honestly say she saved my life and she saved my health. And this is not just a story that is unique to me. There's so many people that can attest to the same thing, that Dr. Carine, the passion she has for what she does, the heart that she has for people, her willingness to help. I remember she used to come up to Connecticut almost every Sunday, give up her Sunday, to meet with people that just wanted to meet with her, figure out what was going on. And she would sit there patiently with each person, diagnose what was going on with them, tell them what they need to do. And so many people have benefited from her ministry. And I know that you being here, you're going to benefit. You're going to have something to take away. She is a doctor. She is a naturopathic doctor trained in holistic medicine. She is also a science teacher, believe it or not. She teaches science at the high school. And she runs a business as well. She does consultations. So if you need to consult with her, you can do so. But she does consultation. And she does prepare a lot of her own products, because even when I did the program with her, most of the products that we use, she actually made them herself, which I loved, because especially now, you go on the internet, there's so many things, and um, you don't know what is real and what is not, and there are fillers and artificial stuff, and just a lot of dishonesty. So it's nice to have someone that you can trust. So I like that about her. But I'm not going to talk anymore. I can go on and on about Dr. Carine, because I really, really, really love her with my heart. So without further ado, here is Dr. Carine Hall Brown. Thank you.
I just want to say happy Sunday to everyone. And I just want to thank Arlene for inviting me. It's just really a privilege for me to be here. Um, you know, what she said is like just what it is. I have a passion for what I do. And I just want to thank her, because I just did not help her. It's just not me helping her, but she also helped me to grow. So it's not every time I help a client, it's not just a one-way street, it's a two-way street. So that I was very grateful for. And I don't want to deliberate on that point in this right now. I was asked to speak on heart health, and I want to spend most of the time talking about heart health, understanding and protecting your heart, because it is every single thing. And I just want to add to what Arlene says with regards to the heart and the Bible, how it mentions the heart so many times, and I really like the verse in Proverbs 17, verse 22, that says, a merry heart doeth good like a medicine. And that speaks to me. And I want you guys to really get the importance of your heart, because I think it's that part of our body that we literally take for granted if we don't have a problem with our heart. And as Arlene had mentioned, it could be a physical problem, it could be a mental problem, it could be a spiritual problem. Either way, whichever way you're looking at it, the heart plays a role. It is the heart that drives the instruction that determines who we are. Now, this simple metaphor here in Proverbs 17, verse 22, just like a medicine, and it's a cure, or it's talking about alleviate physical ailment. A joyful, positive outlook can contribute to significantly to one's overall health. So if you're thinking about, you're going through anything right now, you just probably need to check your heart. When we look at the sad part of it, but a broken spirit drieth the bone. And I thought about the point that it makes here about drieth the bone, and what it's suggesting. It speaks to me as a deep deliberating, or something that affects us very deep, where and that is way down to the core of one's physical strength. Because when we think about the bones is like a symbol of our strength. That is the structure that holds the body up. And when we get dry, or bones get dry, we're looking at a very weak person, because those bones getting dry, it could mean that we are actually deteriorating physically. So we have to, as God's people, with the knowledge that we gain, remember to take care of our heart, and all the principles that's given to take care of the heart was laid down from the inception of time. And I am going to do a quick warm up with you guys. I just need to be able to share my screen. Am I able to do that?
Yes.
Okay, so I can share. Oh, do that one more time. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. I place on the screen, and I just want to start out with some very common um herbs that is really good for the heart. And I want you guys to look at them so that I'm not the only one who's speaking. You could share in the chat the name of this one if you are familiar with it. Just if you're familiar with it, then identify it in the chat. This plant is very common in New York and Connecticut and the Northeast, and and it might not very good. Yes, we got it. Yes. So we have two Angelas, Angela and Barbara. Great. Right. This is hawthorn berry. And I want to sensitize you to the fact that this is one of the most powerful um plants, or it's usually the fruits that is collected at the end of the fall and dried, and it is very, very good and nourishing for the heart. So this is hawthorn berry. So make sure you pay attention. So when you walk on the street and you see this in the fall when they are ripe, you can harvest them, dry them, and you could grind them up and consume them by whatever means so that you can take care of your heart. It is very rich. And I know everybody knows this. This one. This is not even, you don't even have to guess. Garlic. Yes, garlic. This one is extremely good for your heart as well. I know a lot of us have a problem with consuming things like garlic because it gives us garlic breath. But I'll recommend that you open the garlic, blend it out with some pomegranate juice and just drink it because those two together make your heart happy. It nourishes the heart and it is very good for maintaining and sustaining your heart and all the things that affects your heart. This is another one. And let's see if we're gonna, and this was very intentional. Let's see how we can guess this one now. I intentionally, and this is the plant of this one. This is the leaves of it. No, it's not chives. It's not chives at all. This is the plant. This is the base of it, and this is the top of it. Oh yeah, this is turmeric. Yes. Right. I intentionally did not put the open turmeric so that you could see a different side of it. It looks very, very similar to ginger when it's growing. And this is what the leaves, the upper part of it look in its more mature state. So this one is garlic, and garlic is this one is turmeric, and turmeric is really good for the heart. It's good for nourishing not just the heart, the brain, the blood vessels, all the vessels, and they are exceptional for your heart. And I want you to see all the things, and these are things that I am sure all of us are using already. Okay. And this is another one. And I know we all know this one. Flaxseed, yes. So flaxseed, it's not lentils. This one is flaxseed. I guess the way the pictures line up, it could really look like lentils, but it's flaxseed. Yes. So flaxseed has the omega-3, which is good for, it good for the nourishing of the heart so that it can function efficiently. The omega-3 is very, very important for maximum functioning of the heart. So flaxseed is something you want to include in your diet as well, as much as possible. So you have the flaxseed, which will give you the omega-3 in the right form, the plant-based form. The flaxseed oil is also good, but the best source is, I prefer to use the flaxseed itself because sometimes the oils are, the way it's processed, it really is not in the best form, some of them. If it's not cold pressed, then it creates a problem. And then the last and final one. This is one leaf that you'll see all over New York City. It seemed like they knew that we need this more than anything else. And the leaves are very, very it's very unique. It's very rare that you see the leaves of plant looking like this. Looks like a fan, right? So this one is ginkgo. Ginkgo is another very, very good plant for nourishing the heart. It enhances circulation, not just via the heart, but the heart doesn't exist in isolation. We know it's good for the brain as well. So those were 5 simple herbs that I wanted to share with you, or that really, really help in the functioning of the heart. Help to support your heart in to the maximum. And those are the 5 best ones. And if you include at least one of these in your diet on a daily basis, then you would be on to something. So here we see where the hawthorn is like on top of the list for heart failure, high blood pressure, and even digestive issues. So the Hawthorn does that. You know, it is like the first one when you talk about heart health that you will hear about Hawthorn berry. And of course, there are others, but this one will come up really fast. And then we have garlic, which is also good for your cholesterol level. And I want you to know that garlic is very nourishing, and garlic is a prebiotic as well. So some people might misconstrue the idea that taking garlic is gonna destroy their microflora. But in essence, what it actually does is a prebiotic that helps to stimulate the growth of your flora in your gut. So garlic is good for that. And then we have the ginger, and ginger is anti-inflammatory, and ginger definitely has two sides. It is something that relaxes you, and it is also it has the buffer on the other side where it stimulates and then it relaxes, kind of like cayenne pepper. I don't know how many have ever noticed that after taking cayenne pepper, it really speed up the rate of reaction, but the calm is really very calm, and it calms you down to a level where you sometimes can fall asleep. I don't know if it has that effect on everybody, but it does have that kind of effect on me. So ginger helps to lower your blood pressure, and it also function in preventing blood clot. Okay, so we have turmeric, which is high in curcumin, and a lot of us know about turmeric and what it does, antioxidant, and the flaxseed has the lignan, and the fiber, which clears the cholesterol and help with the blood pressure. And ginkgo, as we say, is it helps by dilating blood vessel and reduce sickness or the stickiness of your blood. Okay, so those were the herbs that we look at here that really support our heart. And just in case, you know, I just wanted to get that in first because people usually like that part so that they know when they go home, these are things when you go home, what can I do to support my heart? Then you would not have missed that part. So you can know that a ginkgo grow out there. The flaxseed, when I eat it, you can feel the effect of it. You look forward to the effect of it when you consume flaxseed so that you know this has omega-3 in it. It has the lignin in it, and it has a lot of fiber. And this is helping to clear my cholesterol. So when you consume it, you're thinking about the effect, and that is where your faith come in. And it is through that and the direction through these that the Lord give these herbs when he speaks to them is going to create your healing. So I want you to bear that in mind. You have to look forward to your healing when you make the application. Now, when we talk about heart health, what are we talking about? Now, this is something that is really crucial. We establish that the heart is everything. The heart is the mind, it is the soul, it is the body, it is the life source. It is what keeps everything going. And if the heart stops, you don't go anywhere. No other body system works if the heart stops. You know, so the heart is the center and life and the engine of our body. So when something goes wrong with the heart, there's nothing that can when the heart stop working, nothing else happen. So it is central to the body's circulatory system, and its primary function is pumping blood throughout the body to supply tissues with oxygen and nutrients. And those are two very important things that is supplied by the blood that the heart pumps around. That is the medium through which everything is transported throughout and around our body. So in order for our body to produce the hormones that our body use to do different things, the hormonal aspect of it, then the heart has to pump. So if the heart doesn't pump, then none of that will happen. Okay, so it is very, very important. So why is heart health important? So first and foremost, because when we talk about health, we always allude health to disease. So it is important for the prevention of disease. Of course, it remains the leading cause of death worldwide. Anywhere you go in the world, heart disease is the leading cause of death. Now, it reduces our health risk. So our health risk is reduced to a great extent when we take care of our heart. So good health, good heart health is associated with lower risk of other health issues, which include strokes, high blood pressure, diabetes, I am sure there are 1,000 other diseases that is associated with poor heart health. Now, when we think about it, preventing disease like coronary heart disease, heart attacks, and heart failure, if any of those occur in your life at any point, life is just never ever the same again. Life has changed for you because once you get a heart attack or you have any form of coronary artery or coronary disease, anyone cardiovascular disease, depending on your recovery rate, then you're going to find that a lot of stuff fail in your body. Your blood vessels don't work the same. The blood vessels become weak and flaccid. And if you're experiencing pain, it takes a lot to rebuild your body. Your heart has failed. Now, if you don't die as a result of that, then you're going to end up having other disease. Now, we mentioned diabetes as one of the disease. We have high blood pressure, which is something that people live with, like it's very, very normal. And I just don't know, I don't understand, but it's like more than half of our population has high blood pressure. And when you speak to people, it is as if this is just so normal. I'm 45 and I'm on blood pressure medication because my family, it runs in the family. No, it don't run in the family. When God created Adam, there was no high blood pressure. There was no diabetes. Now it is the lifestyle. It is the lifestyle. Genetics loads the gun, but lifestyle pull the trigger. It doesn't run in your family. It is just something that you develop because of lifestyle. So it is not something you have to accept. It is not something you should accept. You should work by all means to overcome your high blood pressure, your diabetes, so you don't get stroke or any other disease. So is prevention of heart disease, it's very important. Reduction of it helps to reduce your risk of other disease. It enhances your quality of life. And of course, who wants to have any kind of debilitating heart disease? It disabled you. If you get a stroke, it takes months and years if you recover from the stroke. You can't do anything. You might be in a wheelchair. You might be bedbound for the rest of your life. And that's based on how long you live, so your quality of life is going to be less. So you don't want to have any kind of heart disease. And of course, you live much longer. Your life expectancy is greater when your heart is healthy. And if you are carrying out healthy lifestyle practices, of course, you're going to be healthier. Your life is going to be longer and you're going to have a better quality of life as long as you live. And one of the things that I really, it's not, I don't have to live very long. But for me, as long as I live, I want to be healthy. So as long as I live, I think, being healthy in the life that you have, I mean, living bedbound is not a quality life. That's not living. What's the point of living when you're laying down in the bed and you can't do anything? Someone have to change your diaper. Somebody have to do this for you. No, that's not life. If you have to live like that, then what's the point? However, we need to, if we take care of our heart, then I can assure you that that wouldn't be the life that you live. Now, based on the global statistic, as I mentioned earlier, um, heart disease is the leading cause of death anywhere in the world that you go. It's estimated that 17.9 million lives, 17.9 million lives is lost each year on account of 31% of all death worldwide. And this is alarming, when we can do something about it. So if you fall in the category where you have high blood pressure, if you have diabetes, because nobody dies from diabetes, it's always a heart condition. And then when you think about it, COVID has complicated this to a great extent, because people who are so much closer to you, I find, is just dropping dead. You have some of you, I have some close friends that just die. I mean, and these are not like people who are really old, and they walk around every day looking healthy and strong, and they just drop dead. So my mother died at age 40. And when I think about dying at age 40 now, and I'm like, she was really very, very young when she died. She had no reason to die then, you know? And that's part of the reason why I start this journey of trying to educate people. First of all, educating myself so that I know exactly what I needed to do, not to die at 40, because she just dropped dead, you know? And it's not unusual. Like now you see people just getting sick. They have heart problem. And people your age group, people younger than you, they are on blood pressure medication, much younger. Children in high school on blood pressure medication. And it's just alarming. High cholesterol medication. Now it is alarming, but what could be causing that? What could be causing that? you know so we have coronary heart disease and strokes are the predominant. Those are the highest on the list in terms of all the different heart disease that people die from. All the cardiovascular disease put together, this is what most people die from annually. And it is alarming. And what I do know, people don't have to die like that once they are pretty willing to make that adjustment in their lives so that they can be healthy, they can be strong. And we are aware that there are risk factors that we can control. And globally, these are risk factors. And we know tobacco, unhealthy diet, which we have tobacco, unhealthy diet, physical inactivity, and harmful use of alcohol. And these are risk factors. These are things that we can manipulate. We can control. Now, we have risk factors such as hypertension, diabetes, and obesity, and these further increase the risk of cardiovascular disease. Now, we might say that we get diabetes because it runs in our family. Obesity is not something that runs in a family, something that comes on because we eat too much. That's what gives us obesity. Okay. And hypertension. Now, if we are aware and I'm finding out that a lot of people are finding out not when it's too late, because hypertension is something that can be regulated and controlled even after you get it. Diabetes type 2 is easy. When you have type 1 and type 1.5, then that might be a little bit more challenging, but not impossible. All of them are possible, but we need to put the time in. It's just what we value. What we value. We already established and know most people don't might not smoke tobacco of any kind. Their diet might be very unhealthy, and a lot of us are willing to go with the unhealthy diet. Okay, I only eat chicken and fish. That's not so bad. I'm gonna continue eating that. And I'm not saying that is healthy, but there are other variables. If we stay on a plant-based diet, the risk is less. Now, the diet might not be the only variable for a lot of people, because some people are high stressed. They are seriously stressed, and I feel like some people really love the idea of being stressed. And when they are stressed, that's when they feel like they're on a high, but that's really wearing us out and deteriorating our system, our heart. It is making our heart weaker and weaker as we go by. So it is very important that we pay attention to the risk factors. Now, these are regional variation. As I said, these are variation low. We have low and middle income countries bear a disproportionately burden of heart disease, with over 3/4 of cardiovascular disease death occurring in these countries. And what I how I want to classify this, and this is why when people like Arlene call me and ask me to do something like this, I can't say no, because one of my primary gut thing is that if people are educated and they still make the wrong choices, are not do what they are supposed to do, then I can say I would have done what I was called to do, because I strongly believe this is my calling. But they made the choice, and that is their educated choice. That's what they choose to do. Not, but I strongly believe educating people is going to be the answer. Now, my brother called me about a week ago, and my brother is younger than I am. The one I'm talking about, he called me from the Cayman, and he was just really traumatized. He was talking about one of his workers that works with him. His wife just died in his hand, and he just cannot, he cannot, it's like it put him in this position where he's spaced out. And we all know the feeling when somebody just died. He's familiar with them, he worked with them, and that feeling you get when somebody is it just dropped dead in the midst of out of the midst of nowhere. She wasn't sick, nothing was happening to her that she complained about, but she just dropped dead. And it was a heart attack that they report that she died from. And this can be traumatic even for the people who, especially for those who are still alive, because those that die in that situation, they're dead, but they didn't have to be. But for those that are left behind, that is a great deal of trauma that they have to deal with. And it just never, ever really, it's like there's no closure. You live with it expecting to see these people for the rest of your life. Like I am expecting to see my mother somewhere, sometime, somehow. It's like she went somewhere and she's supposed to come back, you know. And she didn't have to die, and a lot of people didn't have to die if they had made the right choices. Yes, so when people live in poorer countries, it doesn't mean that their choices they have to die from these heart disease. I think it's still choices. I've been to other countries outside of where I'm from, and people from this country have healthy choices, but it's just what people choose to eat under the heading that, okay, it's expensive to be a plant-based here, and that's something very, very common that we hear. And one of the trend that came out is that COVID-19 impact. It's like this pandemic increased the risk of cardiovascular complication, is like quadruple. The complication of cardiovascular disease as escalated. And I strongly believe that some of my friends and my close friends that are dying right now as a result of this might be a part of the complication that result in their death, because I think they're, we're still trying to understand what this COVID is and how, taking the shot and all of that complicate the issues that people face when it comes to cardiovascular disease. So, but we as God's people, and especially our ethnic group, we have to be extremely careful, because it seems like there's a serious stagnation. It just stops on us when we drop from any of these diseases. It's like, and when we get it, it's like a earthquake where people really suffer for decades, for years on this. There are some groups where the trend is declining because they are making healthier choices. So it is the choices that we as God's people make that results in the problem that we manifest or exhibit the symptoms. And this is an image of our heart. And who could say if this is a healthy heart or an unhealthy heart? Is there anything in this heart that you could say could result in cardio or any cardiovascular disease? Are you seeing anything? Okay, yes, somebody say they are seeing plaque buildup. Oh yeah. So they are plaque buildup. So this is an image of our heart, and there is plaque buildup. Now our heart has 4 chambers, as you see. We have the atriums at the top and we have the ventricles at the bottom. Atrium at the top, we have 2 on either side. We have blood entering the heart from the lower part of the body from this side, and then it enters into the upper atrium, and there's a valve that opens and allow the blood to flow into the ventricle on the right side, and then that goes to your lung. And the blood on this right side is it's deoxygenated, meaning that it doesn't carry the oxygen, not any oxygen, because the oxygen would have been used up when it goes around the body. So it comes back in here. Now, what happened, this segment here takes in deoxygenated blood, and the blood flows into the lung, and the lung oxygenate the blood. There's an exchange, and then the blood flows back here into the upper atrium on the left side, and then the blood is pumped throughout the body from the lower ventricle, left ventricle. So that's in a nutshell how the heart works. It's really as I said, the engine, along with all the circuits that work with the heart. There are several circuits. So we have We have the systemic circuit, and that is the part that carry oxygen-rich blood, and the pulmonary circuit where we have the deoxygenated blood, there meaning the oxygen is removed. And as I mentioned, the four chambers here, we have the upper and the lower chambers, as was mentioned. The atrium is at the top, the ventricles at the bottom. The right side carry the receive poor oxygen blood with poor oxygen or very little. The left side is the side that has the rich oxygen, and that is the side from which the blood flows throughout the body. Now, we have different types of heart disease, different things beside different types of cardiovascular disease that affects us. And we have the coronary artery disease, and that kind of speaks for itself. The most common type of heart disease is caused by the buildup of plaque in the coronary arteries, leading to reduced blood flow to the heart muscles. And a lot of people, so this is our heart. And when we have reduction, like these blood vessels that supply nutrients, it supplies nutrients, it supplies blood, it carries the blood, and the blood carries the nutrients and the oxygen. And this is the heart as a muscle, and it must be nourished, because one of the things that we take for granted is the fact that the heart is a muscle that needs to be nourished. Now, when we suffer from blockage like this in our blood vessel and plaquing in the different parts of the blood vessel, now these vessels, the arteries might have an plaque surrounding the walls there, and the blood cannot flow freely. But the heart itself needs blood. But because a lot of us, our blood is so thick, the capillaries that carries the blood down to the area here of the muscle, it's not possible to penetrate. So the heart itself as a structure suffer from a lack of oxygen. It suffer from a lack of nutrients, because we have to remember that while we're sleeping, this must work. While we are everything we're doing, this structure, this engine must work to pump the blood around our body to keep us alive. So if we're not doing anything to keep or sustain it, then it's going to suffer, and it's going to stop. These network of looking like electrical wires that run on the outside is also on the inside of the muscle. If you cut it open, you're going to see them. And the fact that you're able to see them, okay, they're carrying the blood to maintain this part of the body. And this part is very important, because when this stops, everything stops. Okay, so when our blood is very thick, like really thick, you're not drinking the water that you're supposed to drink, which is one of the big problems this time of the year. A lot of people are suffering from so much things because they don't drink enough water. Okay, so when you don't drink the water, the blood is thick. Now, sometimes you might drink enough water, but the blood is just naturally thick. You could put some cayenne pepper in your water, or just put it under your tongue and just drink it, and that will help to thin the blood. But remember, if you just put the cayenne pepper on your food and eat the food, don't drink any water, then the blood is still going to be thick, and the heart, the muscle, the heart itself is going to suffer. And we don't want our heart to suffer, because if it stops, then we don't have a source. We don't have any means by which the blood could pump around the body to keep us alive. Okay, so it's very, very, very important that we work. And every day that you get up, every day you have to show yourself some love. And if you're not taking care of your heart, then you're not showing yourself no love. Okay, We have the valves in the vein, inside of our veins, valves inside of our heart. And if we are not careful, we need to make sure our calcium level is up, is high enough. We have to make sure we're taking in enough magnesium, because those two work together for one. And when they are not, when we don't have enough calcium, our valves in our heart and in our veins get weak, and we suffer from a serious backflow of blood. And then we get those varicose vein that just stands up in our system. Then we can add a little bamboo leaves, something like that. Bamboo leaves is very rich in silica, and silica helps in the production of collagen, which supports our blood vessels as well. So it's not only just for us to take collagen so that we can stay youthful and look young, some as simple as bamboo leaf or stinging nettle or, comfrey, any of those are very good, because the valves that support or prevent the backflow of blood, even within our heart, we have valves here. And then you have people who have problem once this blood is released into the lower ventricle. Then if the valve is not working, there will be a backflow. And that is why when a doctor listens to your heart, they listen to the dub, the different, they look for lub, dub, dub. Or if you have an extra sound that comes off when they hear the heartbeat, because there's a rhythm in which it beats. And if that rhythm is disrupted, then you know right there and then the blood is flowing back into the atrium, and that is not good for your health and well-being. Okay, and we talk about valves and blood vessels or capillaries or arteries and or vein. And the capillaries is the smallest of them all that carries the blood. Like, we have arteries that carry oxygenated blood, and pretty much veins carry deoxygenated blood. The capillaries goes into the extremities. Like if you cut your finger, piece of your flesh, you're gonna see you start bleeding. It's the capillaries that you're cutting. And then we have, it carries these things, the oxygen, the carbon dioxide exchange that occur between in the lung. We have a displacement. One is leaving the body and one is coming in. The oxygen is usually coming in and they displace each other. So it's just when you think about it and the beauty of how God created us, it's just like, wow, how does that occur, when you look at it in general? Yes, so we talk about the coronary heart disease, the artery disease. We talk about arrhythmia, arrhythmism. Okay. Arrhythmia. Okay, so when we talk about that one, and that is the abnormal heartbeat. Yes, the abnormal heartbeat, that when they listen, it's like there is an irregularity in the way the heart beat. And then we have heart failure, a condition in which the heart can't pump enough blood to meet the body's need. And a lot of people have this. It might not be to the extent where the heart is not pumping, but the needs are barely being met. So you find that people walk around, literally with such low blood flow throughout the body. It's not funny how they live, but it's happening because I've seen it. Yes, and then we have the congenital heart disease, where we have the birth defects that affect the heart structure and function, so that is implicated from birth. And then we have the cardiomyopathy, which is a disease of the heart muscle that makes it harder for the heart to pump blood to the rest of the body. And that is something that a lot of people that I've met have, and we have the valvular heart disease, those that occur with the valves as we talk about. And those are just the different categories of heart disease. And we have all of these occurring, and these are all different categories of disease that affect people to different extents. So the extent to which it affects individuals vary, so um it is very, very important, and it is alarming. As we said, it's 17 point, how much million people that is affected. No other disease, cancer, put them all together, is implicate the lives of people as heart disease, and it doesn't have to be that way. Okay, so we want to do everything that we can to care for our heart. And the amount of money that is spent on heart disease in this country, it's alarming. Here we had some stats there where we see over $200 billion is spent on just this one medications, for just this one disease, when we can do something to care for our heart so we have better heart health. Okay, so I just quickly want to go over the symptoms that we experience when we're having any kind of heart issue. If we're having any heart problem, these are some of the symptoms that you will experience. We might experience chest discomfort. Okay, so chest pain or any kind of dysfunction. That is something you want to pay attention to and never ever take for granted. Often described as aching, pressure, tightness, or burning. Don't take it for granted, because it could mean the difference between you being alive or being dead. Okay, shortness of breath. That's something you want to pay attention to. If you get up and move from one part of the room to the next and you're experiencing shortness of breath, that is something you want to give some attention. Fatigue and weakness, especially during physical activity. And that's not saying you're not supposed to do physical activity. It's very important that you carry out physical activity. And then any kind of fatigue that you're experiencing, you want to pay attention. You want to check your body. You want to know what is happening so that you're not walking in the wrong direction for an extended period of time and then you get a heart attack. And this is a severe case, which after experiencing all of that, you will get a heart attack, which is coronary artery, which is completely blocked. And when that is completely blocked, then everything stops. And we established the risk factors already. We talk about high blood pressure, high cholesterol, with smoking, diabetes, obesity, or overweight. Those are the risk factors. And if you are aware, if you have high cholesterol, don't take it for granted. You have to do something about it. Do something. If your blood pressure is high and it's constantly high, it's not been coming, you're not able to control. You just need to make sure you do something about it. And as I said, I mentioned the herbs that will work for any kind of, if you're experiencing any tightness, we are experiencing chest pain, burning, any of those, or you find you have a headache which is not going, and it's not like you have migraine like some people will have constantly, but you know that this is your blood pressure that is elevating. Something very simple to do is combine your garlic and your cayenne pepper, and you blend those and you drink it, or put the cayenne pepper under your tongue and drink some warm water, and that will release it into your body much faster, thin the blood, and pushes some blood in the area where it needs to go. Now, if we're inactive, we need to get up and walk, get up and walk, get up and move. This year we're doing steps challenge, and we're stepping for life. And, it is really, really remarkable when we do things together. Just get together, start a step challenge, start a diet challenge, so that people work together to literally to eat healthy and to work out. You don't even have to work out together, but just it's not inactivity, because we're targeting a certain number of steps for the day, and we share our steps, and that is just so amazing. That is something that we've been doing at our church, and it is amazing how, when people are working together, how they get competitive, and in the process of being competitive, they are maintaining their health. So inactivity is not an excuse. We're sharing what we're eating on a daily basis. So we're sharing our meals, to keep each other in check. And then we add the steps, and then, as the months go by, we add other things, our hours of sleep, our water intake, hydration. So these are things that I've been working with my church, and I'm sharing this because I feel like this is just an excellent way to bring people together and have people work together to be healthy and strong. And I'm sure some of us on here can give their testimony as to how this has helped them. So unhealthy diet, age is a risk factor, but it's when we do the physical activity and our diet, I'm sure age is not a factor. The family history is also a variable, but as I said, it is heredity that loads the gun, but lifestyle is what pulls the trigger. Now, stress. I want to highlight stress, because you could have all of these right. You could have all the physical activity, you could work out like a horse, and you could have the best diet, and you could be 10-year-old, and you don't have heart disease as part of your family, but stress can knock your heart out in a jiffy. So I want to encourage you to find ways of managing stress, because stress is a killer. Okay, so if you don't have a way to manage stress, you got to find a way. Okay, the 8 laws of health is always the go-to. Don't take it for granted. We know it, we are aware of it, but there is nothing else that works like the 8 laws of health. And I can assure you there is nothing else. This is your lifestyle. This is your medicine. This is what you need to do to maintain good heart health. Now, I want to shout out beans, greens, berries. So grains, greens, berries, and beans. This is what I want to shout out. In terms of our diet, we must eat every single day. We must eat. And this is something we must do. And if you're going to eat and you're trying to make your heart happy or trying to nourish your heart by any means, just bear in mind that the grains, the greens, the berries, and the beans, these are the ones that really clean the vessels and make your heart healthy. You want to try these. Now, if you're not getting enough sleep, you got to do something to get rest. But before you do all of these, you must trust in God, because God speaks through all of these to ensure that you are healthy. Exercise is critical. Nutrition, water, sunshine, all of them are exceptionally important. It's not like you can do one without the other, and get the same result. It's plant-based diet and all the other laws of health that is going to nourish your heart. This is what will nourish your heart. If you seriously have a heart problem and you want to reduce the symptoms and the effect, you want to turn to God, the 8 laws of health, and make sure you convert to a plant-based diet. And in order not to, bore you any longer, I just want to see what's eating you so that if you have question with regards to anything in particular that is affecting you, then I am going to pause right here to take those questions.
There are a couple questions in the chat regarding what can be done to lower a heartbeat of 124.
So your heart is palpitating. Is that what you're saying? The beat is like really okay. Then one of the thing that you need to pay careful attention to is what's triggering it, because sometimes there are things that trigger that palpitation, and it is very important to identify that. And in order to identify that, you have to pay attention to your body. You know, sometimes you might be low in magnesium, as simple as that, because magnesium is a mineral that is so very important in the body. And one of the thing that it does is help to calm and relax the muscles throughout the body. And the heart is no exception. And it is extremely important that you check so that you will understand where this is. And then there are some things that you might have as a part of your diet that could literally cause your heart to palpitate. And I am not sure why some things affect some people, but it does. The next, any other questions?
Yes, there's another one after that one. They were asking about, so I think you just answered the heart palpitating one, right? So the next one was what can be done to lower a heart rate of 124? Is that the one you just answered?
Yeah, I think it's kind of the same. The heart rate is high. It
All
is
right.
kind of like the same thing. The heart, because sometimes you go to bed, you might be hearing your heart. So I did mention that you could actually, some people are suffering from anxiety and other things, and they need means of relaxing. Breathing also does support that, help to bring your heart rate down, like deliberately just inhaling and exhaling is something that you can do um to help to relax the muscles of the entire body, because one of the things that we don't do is breathe. We are not breathing. And I know you are saying, oh, but I'm alive, but we're literally not breathing, and we usually breathe from the core all the way down here, where our diaphragm is, and we're breathing from our chest, and that creates a problem in relaxing.
All right. The next one is, does impaired blood flow cause imbalance?
Oh, definitely. If the blood cannot flow to the brain, for example, then you're going to be low on oxygen. You're going to be low on iron. You're going to be low on nutrients. You're going to be low on a lot of things. So it is definitely something that will cause you to feel off balance. It's just like if you bend down, some people are low in iron and then they get up and they kind of feel off balance. just by bending, but it does affect, because a lot of people have that plaque in the artery that goes to the brain. And when that is the case, it can impair the flow of blood to the brain, and it cause foggy brain, it cause, you even lose memory as a result of that.
Okay. I see someone has raised their hand. If you could go ahead and come off mute and ask your question.
Okay, good night.
Good night.
All right, I know you just addressed the breathing problem, but I
Mhm.
don't know if mine is a little different. All
Mhm.
right, so I've always have breathing issue, and when I when I realize that I'm breathing shallow,
Mhm.
I take deep breath, and somewhere in my nostril, it's like icy cold air is coming in, and I don't like to feel it, and so I end up really continuing, to breathe shallow. I don't know what I can do. Sometimes I wear the mask, just to pull back on some of the air that
Uh,
is, you know.
are
Mhm.
you talking about just in the winter or just all the time?
Well, I notice that icy cold mostly now in the winter.
And that is inside or outside?
And in and outside. The outside is worse. I have to wear a mask no matter where I go. Or even just put a rag over my nose to cut back on some of the cold air that is coming in. So I don't know if something is wrong with my nostril, or I don't know.
All right. And do you have like a whistling sound when you breathe, or is it just normal breathing, but the air is so cold for you?
It's normal. It's normal breathing.
Okay. Okay. Um,
Mm.
and how do you breathe? Are you a heavy breather, like you have shortness of breath?
Yes. Sometimes I'm not even conscious of it. If I'm beside somebody, they'll say, "Why you breathing so short?" Sometimes I'm
Okay.
not even conscious of it.
Okay, so that is something, and then we'd have to look at your weight, and your lungs is under a lot of pressure, so that
Mhm.
might be a part of the problem, or the biggest part of the problem. So it
Mhm.
it might become necessary because of the shortness of your breath, because our breath is usually, or should be, very long, and we should be able to inhale and exhale.
Comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah, for you it's uncomfortable, but
Mhm.
I believe that is something that you need to literally work on to build your lung capacity, because it's you have a very shallow lung capacity. It's very small, and then if you build it, and that discomfort
Mhm.
that you experience is something that you probably want to push yourself to, like, if you're breathing, you take time out every day, and you do 10 deep breath 3 times a
Mhm.
day, and then
Right.
you do it consistently over a period of time, your body will adjust, you know
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm. In 2016, I did a surgery, and when I wake up, they said a part of the lung had collapsed.
Mhm.
So since then, that gadget that they used to blow into and so on, just to strengthen it. So I did it a few times, and you know, but I don't know, it's been a while now, so I don't know.
Well, that's why it's important for you to breathe. Wasn't it? Breathing was not one of your recommendations by the doctor to actually
In
breathe.
the in the gadget, that little thing that when you
Yes, I know.
blow, when you pull on the air, the little thing inside of it would go up, and
Right.
so it increase.
So do
So
you
I
do
did it
it?
for a while.
Are you doing it?
I don't
Are
have the container anymore. I left it in Jamaica.
Well, you need to get one. Go on Amazon. But you don't need to get it. You just need to practice the breathe.
Not normally,
Yeah.
right, right, right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, we'll go back to the chat. Thank you so much. Let's see. There's a question about pistachios. Are pistachios good for heart health as well?
Yes, pistachio is one of those very healthy nuts. And I mean, most of the nuts are healthy for and good for your heart health in terms of the minerals, the magnesium, some of the calcium. Pistachio is also good for relaxation. So it is definitely one of those that is high in magnesium that will help to support the heart. Yes. But don't go overdo it now because you could sit and eat a whole bag of pistachio and it's a very dense nut. And that's why God made it in a shell, which is not that easy to unravel. You have to open it like a clam to eat it. So if you notice when you eat a handful of pistachio, you kind of feel full. Yeah, so it's just in moderation, all things in moderation.
All right. And someone had asked, do you offer private consultations? Arlene responded, just in case the person has not seen the chat, yes, Dr. Carine offers private consultation. All right, the next question, and hold your thought, the person who raised your hand, I'm going to come to you in a second. Uh, does heart palpitation require a doctor's attention?
Well, like all issues that you experience, I would recommend if you feel like this palpitation is out of control and I would recommend that's the first thing you make sure you see your a healthcare provider to find out what's going on. That's something that I would recommend.
All right, go ahead. The person who has raised your hand, you can ask your question, unmute.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I heard this speak about calcium, and I just want to. It's something I practice religiously in terms of like lemon water. I drink 2 glasses of lemon water with lemon, and this is what takes care. Inflammation is something that a lot of our sickness comes from, and that would be taking care of your inflammation. You do it like early morning, like 4 or 5 o'clock, or an hour before you eat anything. 2 glasses of warm water, not anything hot, but just warm, and that will take care of your inflammation. I just wanted to mention that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And I see someone else has raised your hand. Go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
I put my question on the chat. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. What was your question?
Okay.
Let me see if I can.
I'll just read it to you. I have 30 years of suffering with leaky gut, with and hold on, caused by candida. I've been eating plant-based for past 20 years, but I keep suffering leaky gut. I think the doctors call it permeable, what is it? Gut permeability. Now I have been diagnosed with heart disease. Can you tell me if what was happening in my gut affected my heart in terms of inflammation? Is there an association?
Well, so now you're diagnosed with a cardiovascular disease.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I do know inflammation, but the connection is not made based on research, but it just depends on how your leaky gut disease affect you. You said you have candida for all these years. You have been on plant-based diet and
And I always, excuse me, I always treat it naturally. I do detox, I do colonics, I take a gut repair to help the leaky gut. I do everything, but I keep getting problems like yeast, and pretty soon I get tired and just all kinds of symptoms, foggy brain, the whole 9 yards.
Okay, and you said you're on a plant-based diet. Because one of the thing with plant-based diet, we can eat a wide variation of things on a plant-based diet. However, when we're suffering from candida and we end up with leaky gut, then we have to look at what we're consuming because a lot of the times we feed these microbes and they love sugar, and we might not eat sugar directly, but if we're eating starchy food it breaks down to sugar, and that sugar is like heaven for them, and then they proliferate and create more problems, and that makes it kind of impossible to eliminate it. So the way it is approached needs to be looked at as an individual. We have to look at all the variables that is affecting you and eliminate them one by one or do something very radical. I know that you said you have done detox. However, I am not sure if the detox is in the form of colonics, and that's the only means of detoxing. But when we like for something like this, because I've had clients who really had a rupture in their colon, and they have a serious issue of a proliferation of microbes that is growing or affecting them, bacteria in their body, and I work with them, and that was eliminated. So I am not sure how your program was done to help you with the candida and thus, and I am not
How do
sure
I
if there's
know?
a correlation between the disease, the cardiovascular disease and the leaky gut at all. I don't know, but there could be a possibility.
How do I know what to eliminate? Do I go get tested? Is there some way a functional medicine doctor can help me?
Well, what I would do, I would get off all starchy food,
Which
even
I
though
have. I
everything that is
right.
starchy, everything that is sweet, and it's a process of elimination, and then maybe after eliminating them, then you reintroduce them, and that's just how you would know what trigger you.
Um, I do a little juicing, but like I said, I'm almost afraid to eat. Do you know
Mm,
what I'm saying? I get so tired and so sick and fatigued and listless. And since this has been going on, I might add though, God is good. I survived. I didn't find out about all of this until I was age 40 when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I survived two cancers and acute pancreatitis. So I study, I pray, and but this one I think is so fundamental. And I'm 78 now, and
wow.
I'm just
Oh,
having a I'm I'm not confused, but the regular doctors is
mm,
very hard to talk to them because they only give you drugs. Okay, and I am tired of, I don't want that. I believe I've corrected my part of it, but I need their help.
mhm,
um, I live on the West Coast.
mm.
um, how would I find, um, well, I can look up on Google but should I go to Loma Linda? Is there somebody there that
Um,
might be able to help me?
Let me, before you answer, Dr. Carine, normally, good evening again, everyone. Usually, I'm sorry to interject, but usually we finish it at 8 o'clock. We're way past that time. So I want to respect people's time.
Okay, I'm sorry. All
Leave,
right then.
you can leave. If Dr. Carine, are you able to stay on for a few more questions?
Yeah, I could.
Yes, I am.
Okay,
Yes.
so Dr. Green will stay on, but I do have to let everyone know. Normally we finish at 8. So if you have to leave, then sure, please do that. We will consider the program officially ended, and then we will stay on if we have additional questions. Dr. Karine, if you could, do you mind posting your contact information in the chat? That way, if someone wants to talk to you, one-on-one, like the guest that was just talking, maybe they can talk with you one-on-one to go more in depth, because we have a few more questions in the chat that we'd
All
like to
right.
get.
Thank
Would
you.
you want to speak with Dr. Karen in detail, in depth? She has posted her information in the chat. Her phone number is there, and you can give her a call directly. If you don't get her, just leave her a message, because I'm sure everybody will be calling her.
Okay,
Um,
I put
but
my number in the chat.
well, Dr. Karen's number is in the chat, so you can give her a call one-on-one. Anyone. It's not
Okay,
just
all right. Thank
give
you.
a call, okay? Sister Shireen, do you want to go on to the next question?
Sure.
Dr. Karen.
All right. So the next question is what can help with cholesterol? So I guess we're switching a little bit to cholesterol.
Well, that is all in the mix. Okay, cholesterol, first and foremost, you must sleep. If you're not getting enough sleep or rest, you're going to produce cortisol, and cortisol will become cholesterol in your blood vessel. And then that could lead to high blood pressure, that could lead to diabetes, that could lead to insulin resistant, that could lead to all of the above. Now, cholesterol, what I do know, a plant-based diet, eliminating everything that has a mother and a face with eyes, yes, getting rid of those. And we have things like, as we said, a hawthorn berry is gonna help. Butcher's broom is something that definitely help with removing those plaque on the arteries, and actually help to scour the arteries so that the extra plaquing that's there can go away. And we're going to need our omega-3, which, as I mentioned, in the form of flaxseed, that will help as well. And those, in essence, we want to work on thinning the blood in the process by drinking our water, exercising, and adding a little cayenne pepper to our water or something, tea, whatever, just because that helps to thin the blood. So if you have that extra cholesterol, you also want to make sure that your liver is not fatty, because if your liver is fatty, where the extra fat is stored, then you're still going to have the problem because the fat has nowhere to go. So though that's in a nutshell, you got to flush your liver, remove all animal products from your life. Go to bed and sleep for at least 8 hours. Drink water, exercise, and those will definitely, with no problem, remove the cholesterol from the blood. And we mentioned stress. So if you're sleeping, I don't think you should be as stressed, but stress as a factor can still cause your body to be in a constant stage of flight and fright, and you're producing steroids during this time. So the cortisol is being produced, which is used as adrenaline, and your body is existing on that, and that is going to cause the cholesterol to stay high. So that you have to manage. You got to take a vacation, go somewhere and lay on the beach and just swim for a whole week. and make sure you're not thinking about the problem you run away from. Yeah. And I
All
think
right.
that definitely will help.
All right. What if you have very low blood pressure under 118 for years? Is that alarming or no?
I don't think it is alarming. A lot of people have normal low blood pressure. Only if you're getting like dizzy or experiencing wooziness of any kind, then it becomes problematic. Most people blood pressure, you have a lot of people with low normal blood pressure. Their blood pressure is low and it's normal. They function fine. I don't think it is alarming. My blood pressure is never 120/80 as the standard applies. It's never that. So no, it's not alarming.
All right. And then I think this is the last question in the chat. What does night sweats have to do with the heart?
Okay, so night sweat might not directly um correlate with the heart. It's more a hormonal issue. So it's your endocrine system that is not functioning efficiently. And if the endocrine system is not working properly, so we could look at several factors. So we're looking at night sweats, which is as a result of the endo, which we're talking about estrogen production is low. And when that gets low, when you're close to menopause, now what it does, it triggers the thyroid, which might be a little bit off for a lot of people who are going through menopause. It triggers the thyroid, which has a function in cooling or regulating the body temperature. So because estrogen is low, then enough estrogen is not collaborating with the thyroid gland to control the body temperature. You will find that your body gets very hot. And in order to cool the body down, we just start sweating. And that seems like an annoying thing, but it is a mechanism that was put in place to maintain homeostasis in the body. And if we, if we literally try to regulate that balance with the hormone. I know the hormone level gets low for a lot of people, but William cream is a very natural form of progesterone. It stimulates the production of progesterone. And William comes in the form of cream, and you can get it in the form of capsule. And that is something that I know that definitely helps to stimulate the production of progesterone, which helps in the regulation of estrogen, which helps to normalize the hormone when we are at that age of menopause. Yes, so yes, and in relation to heart disease now, if our body get hot, it's gonna stimulate the heart. It's like it's gonna be like a inflammation. So the heart is going to start pumping faster, and the blood is gonna start circulating faster, and the pores are gonna open. A lot of it rush to the surface. So there is a correlation there between the heat of the body, the blood rushing to the surface of the skin, the pores opening, and then you start producing sweat, which cools the body down nicely. Yeah. So there's a correlation. Yeah.
All right. Do you have a website, Dr. Carine?
Not quite yet. I'm working on it.
All right. Uh, how do we know we need magnesium? I heard there are 7 forms of magnesium. Do we need all forms? If not, what is the best form to take?
Okay, so if you are when you there are people who are nauseous. Sometimes just naturally when they eat, they feel nauseous. There are people who experience contraction, their toes just start stiffening up, muscle contract, sometimes, just different parts of your body, and it manifests itself in different places, depending on who. So it's contraction. People experience contraction. Sometimes it's in the form of inflammation, like you will feel pain in certain parts of your body. The shoulders are tightening up. Those are indicators that your magnesium level is low. So if you have a part of your body that doesn't want to relax, then that is an indication that your magnesium is low. And there are other symptoms that it's low as well. But magnesium is just such a it's wide spectrum, and it serves many purpose. If your calcium is low, your magnesium is, they kind of work together. Calcium and magnesium, you usually find them together. Even your digestion, poor digestion is an indication of low magnesium. Constipation, sometimes you're constipated. That can be as a result of the low levels of magnesium. Um, Even acid reflux, sometimes magnesium is part of the issue. So there are a number of wide spectrum indicators that magnesium is low. Palpitation, those are all indicators.
Right. As of right now, Dr. Carine does not have a website. It is in progress. So stay tuned. All right. I think that is it. I'm going to turn it back over to Sister Arlene to wrap us up. Thank you so much.
Sister
Well,
Sharon, good evening. I have a question in the chat for the longest while.
I do not see your question. You can go ahead and share it. I apologize.
Okay. Good evening, Dr. Karine. If someone have a thyroid issue, can it cause weight gain? If yes, what can be done about it, please?
Oh, definitely. The thyroid does, it has two folds. We have those that are hyper and those that are hypo. When your thyroid is underactive, meaning it's very slow in its metabolism of or metabolization of the it is what regulates metabolism in the body. And when it is not functioning efficiently, it cause you to gain weight. For those, most people will suffer from hypo and not hyper, especially the ones that are putting on a lot of weight. Hyperthyroid is hyperactive. You mean that is the one where they have fast metabolism. But then, it is necessary to examine your situation a little closer so that we can understand, the variables. We know iodine, we know T3, we know the T4 that is manufactured from the T3, and then we have to look at all the thyroxoglobulin and all of those factors in order to support what is happening to you. Because sometimes you have people who have these thyroid issues, and we know that in a lot of cases the deficiency in iodine, which is usually the go-to, but sometimes it might not necessarily be just that. It might be a little bit more than that, and sometimes you will take the iodine. Sometimes it might just be selenium that you're deficient in. And because of that, the release that you're supposed to get is not happening. And when you do take extra iodine, it can make that situation worse. So you know, so there are variables that are involved in the intricacy when it comes to that. So, and then it could just be, you know, something very simple, as I said, like selenium deficiency. But then it always require that you look at the situation a little closer to see all the different factors that are involved. Yeah. But all the situations and your situation can be supported and help and fix, you know, as long as you're willing to invest what it takes. Yeah.
Thank
Excuse me.
you.
Excuse me. Good night.
Good night.
I know you have to go, but um, my husband is having something named hives, Hives. He
Mhm.
has it for about 20 something years now. And each time when the weather changes, it comes on. I wonder if you could help him in a
Mm,
nutshell.
wow. And what is it that did he do anything for all these years to help? Is there any
Yes. He
what
went to he has been going to doctors. I took him to doctors and so, but nothing really is helping, especially if he's talking to somebody, just talking. If he
Mm.
lifts things and any little simple things like those, it's off. It's off.
I am trying to understand. Uh, I it sounds, I mean, I know what you said, but I'm trying to put all of it together so that I can really understand it. You said whatever he does, and you're saying especially in the winter months, he experienced this. And
Yes.
how is it manifested? I know what Ives is, but I just want to know what his symptoms are.
Okay, so his symptoms are, his skin itches him very, very bad. And I have to lotion him back and on the chest.
What you
Yeah.
use to lotion him?
Um, I use Nivea, or if I have olive oil, anything at all. But I don't think they are working. I don't know what to use. I buy lotion. I
I
don't
think
know what
you
to
should
buy.
give me a call. I don't, right now I just need to, you know, I know that I know some things that I could look at. Is he diabetic?
No, it's not. Mm-mm.
Uh, and you don't know if he's well, you wouldn't know. He's not, they don't test for insulin. So we'd have to look at, you know, how much insulin is being produced, because sometimes we have a lot of insulin in the blood and it can trigger it. We have to look at the minerals that he has that is low. If it's you know, there are several minerals that can trigger the nerve and cause that constant itching. So
Oh.
Yes, so those are some variables that we would need to look at. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
are you here? Where are you located?
I'm living in Connecticut, Hartford.
Okay. So right. So I think you should just try to give me a call and then I could, you know, I could probably look at it a little closer and
Yes.
see how we could support him to overcome his constant hive that he gets this time of the year.
Could
Yeah.
you give me your number, please?
I had put it in the chat. It's 301
301
641
641
04
0478.
78.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'll let him give you a call probably tomorrow or one of these days.
Okay, no problem.
Yes.
Mhm.
All right.
What time should he call you though?
He could call me in the evening, like,
Okay, that's better. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Arlene. Thank you so much.
Dr.
okay,
Carine.
you're welcome.
And I enjoy the program.
All right. I am glad you enjoyed the program. I'm glad everyone enjoyed the program. I hope you were able to get some information out of it. Just
Yes.
reminder, every third Sunday we do a seminar like this one. Last month we had one on financial finances, which was really good. This month we have this one on heart health, which was excellent. And next month again, we will have another program. I can't remember off the top of my head what
Nutrition and anxiety.
Okay, anxiety, nutrition and anxiety. Thank you so much. So that's our program for next month.
Okay.
So every third, and that's on the 24th of March, every third Sunday, we do a program like this. So it's the same link. You're welcome to join us. Dr. Carine, thank you so much. Again, this, as usual, this was wonderful. Lot of good information. And I'm sure that we all benefited. I don't want to keep you any longer. So thank you all for joining. Any final words, Sister Sherry, or